Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
So, are you able to hear? Yeah. Are you able to see my slide?
No, sir.
Whiteboard.
No, sir.
Is it now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, thank you. So, in the last class, we were discussing about one of the network, multi-layered architecture network. It's called backpropagation network, right? So, it is said that it is trying to make use of some gradient descent method. This gradient method, no, is an interesting method adapted here. You can explore. I will pass some material for that. For the subject may not be required much, but you can explore that. See, it is something like it is a very interesting method which they have adapted here, so that you can get a condition like whatever expected output or desired output, no, you can generate, or for which you can set the network weights. See, during the training algorithm, they are using this particular method, right? So I was talking about the architecture first in the network PPN. We were talking about the architecture having input, output, and hidden layer, and we were just discussing about training algorithm. The training algorithm is trying to have some kind of estimation of error, differential error, and that actually our mean square error even can be calculated or sometime maybe referred some cost function, right? So whatever the value you estimate as a error function, that or some iteration or based on certain other conditions, even you can monitor in an iterative approach. The training algorithm will go and do some updation of weight, right? It is some iterative approach. And finally may get into convergence or not sometime. Okay, maybe or not. It depends on how you start with or how you go on with the training procedure, right? So generally in this training procedure, you will be considering learning rate. So you can choose between 0 to 1, right? So whenever you choose certain value of that, say if you choose certain value too high, if the initial point somewhere here, if you start, if it is too high, it may not get into minimum value of error if it is a weight adjustment you are doing with various iterations with the error function here vertically. Such as error curve is shown somewhere, and suppose say your starting point is somewhere, and if you start to go on train with certain alpha where alpha is sufficiently high, if alpha is sufficiently high, what happens is it may not get into the minimum value. Okay, it may even be seen that it may not properly trained. It may not get into proper train. Whereas if alpha is taken sufficiently moderate value, see there is some a kind of optimization also required sometime. So if you do that, no, if you take sufficient value such a way that if you are able to reach by getting a certain gradient or certain slope here, every time using Delhi or some differential of error, if you make dw or some error value of differential value, if you estimate, and that if you express some del, right? So that you can try to minimize. So it is some approach you are trying to follow in the gradient method to look for minimizing the error. So where alpha if it is smaller, what happens is you will be trying to reach the minimum value. So you will not losing the track of getting into learning procedure, right? So if you get into least error, then you will be able to recall the patterns, or you'll be able to call you will be able to test the random samples in a more accurate way, right? So some kind of procedure adapted here, where even you may be having error curve where multiple minima may be there. One may be the global minima, one may be, or some other may be the local minima. Suppose your curve is something like this, multiple minimum value. These are local minimas. During that time of training, it is a minimum value. But this is the least if you are talking about error function along y-axis with the weight here. So what happens is different iterations during which you may find the curve is changing and there will be even multiple minimum value. But some may be just a minimum called local minima and some may be referred as global minima. Throughout the error curve, that may be the least. To capture this also, you may have to look for moderately selecting alpha. Alpha is a very important parameter and optimization may be required some time so that you may be able to get into this minima value. If it is sufficiently high, selected high value, then you may lose or that slope, what you are calculating may not capture this point of minimum value. So maybe leading to not satisfactory learning, right? So maybe the least error what we are looking sometime may helpful for you to get into the solving problem, whatever it is. But even sometimes what people understand that MSE, whatever you calculate, mean square error, for number of iterations, if you consider, whether you should like this is a mean square error, you find that when the number of iteration you are increasing, it may be decreasing sometime like this. Okay. Sometimes even it may increase overfit or it may increase also. It may also happen. Okay. Suppose say that it is decreasing. Suppose it is decreasing. But even sometimes they will not select, suppose this is 100, iteration of 100, it is iteration of 200. They may not keep even 200 or 300. Instead of that, they may stop at 150 sometime. Okay. That is also maybe sometime because some experimental ways to fix it. Maybe there are a lot of things to explore later, slowly when you are doing some work. So let me share my slide. Are you able to see my slide?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So who is that moving the pointer? Somebody is controlling my screen. Okay. So you can see that we are talking about some kind of network. Even one more network architecture will take later. But before that, I will take one or two applications. So I was talking about design cycle earlier. Pattern recognition design cycle or some kind of design cycle. How it will help to design certain application using certain classification model, right? Or application for classification model. We were just talking about a design cycle earlier in the beginning of the classes. Some iterative method or some kind of design cycle will have some stages that you need to iteratively may be required to repeat sometime to reach the required quality of outcome, right, or product. So let us take a simple example and just try to understand that. So remember that in these design cycles, we will be generally focusing on three types of data set. Maybe training, or sometimes we just call it as training and testing set. Or even more appropriately, if you want to categorize it, sometimes we call it as validation set and evaluation set or testing set. Right. So what is this training set? All of you know that these are set of data which can help you to establish your model in the beginning, right? For updating the weights, all this, right? We have seen for a backpropagation net how you can update a weight with single pattern, right? A given pattern in the last class. So when you take multiple training data for different classes, maybe 2-class problem or 3-class problem, with those training data set, you can update the weight of the network so that you may be able to store some patterns in the network. The network is said to be learning during the training process, right? Network may be trained, the training data. That means the given patterns belonging to different classes, based on that, it will update the weight and it will learn about the patterns, right? That's what's going to happen during training process. Okay, training data set is one set. And the other major set is testing data set. Or even appropriately, sometime you may call depending on, say, validating and evaluating set, right? What is this validating set? Once training is over or training is completed, you can validate the models. For that, you keep generally separate validation data set. In this case, okay, in the given any of the given problem, this set or validation data set is going to have some samples once again. That is not used in the training data set. Okay, generally, it will be a separate data set. So what is the purpose of keeping this data set? Anyone?
Sir, can you repeat the question? Which set were you talking about?
Yeah. So training data, we already said what is the purpose. It is for training, right? So the rest of the two data sets, suppose you want to validate, you need a validation data set. What is generally validating? Any idea? Any product validation? Validation of the product means what?
To see how accurate it is and if it's working the way it's supposed to.
Generally testing will be, how it is working. Even validating also, but somehow general meaning maybe look like that. But actually, validation here set, whatever we keep here, have some of the samples. It is kept separately just to make sure that you can redefine some of the parameters, hyperparameters, and you can fine tune the model. Okay. For the purpose, we generally keep separate set here. So it is another level of work you may be working on with the hyperparameters here, maybe setting the optimizing the alpha or whatever it is. Those things you may be able to do it there, so that the testing data set or later evaluating performance could be seen better. Okay. So evaluate data set is one more data set or testing data set. What you are going to do is where you'll be just testing the model, right? Model can be tested. See, you can train and you can test. Testing will indicate what is the performance. If the performance is not satisfactory, you may have to improve it. But however, if you have some flexibility to adjust some of the parameter, you can even fine tune it, right? So for that, even one more data set is kept. So validation set. So validating the model. Okay, maybe some for that set of data, even you may be knowing what is the standard outcomes, all this sometime maybe, so that it may be easy to do that if there is a gold standard data or some kind of defined output for that, right? Even it will be easy for you to optimize that. Anyway, in generally, you understand that our design cycle, as I have shown earlier, will be having various stages which we were discussing. It starts with the data collection, feature extraction and the selection, then choosing a certain model such as maybe backpropagation or KNN, K-means or whatever it is, right? Clustering model, right? Or neural model, selection of the model, right? Is one major stage. So then after doing all this, the major thing may be the training procedure, right? Then testing procedure, right? Testing involves maybe validating and all this evaluation of the model, checking that what is the performance with various parameters, which we will try to define later. Maybe some accuracy or some other parameters like sensitivity, all this, no, will help you to understand what is the performance of that particular model, the developed model, right? How it is behaving, like how examination is conducted, right? End of the semester or end of the class, or every segment of semester will have different tests. This to evaluate what is your learning. Similarly, what is the capability of that particular neural network or a trained network, right? To recall the patterns, right? Or to do certain tasks. It may not be always for classification, even it can do some of other tasks. Neural network even can do other tasks like compression and so many other things. Okay. So whatever the task given to the neural network, is it performing properly? That you can find out during testing or some evaluation stage. And you can make sure that the performance meets the requirement. Once the requirement is observed, then you can stop training. Otherwise, you maybe have to look for cyclic approach. See, you start defining the task initially, then you may have to collect the data. That is what happening. Then you may have to test, evaluation, etc. That is initially you call exploration of the model, but it may not be enough sometimes. This may be ending with happy result sometime, like you may get 80% or 85% in the first iteration. It's first model exploration. Whenever you're approaching with the problem first time with certain model, going through all these stages, right? You may find a satisfactory result for some problem, maybe 90% or whatever it is. But actually, when you launch a product, no, it may not be enough. So what you have to do, you may have to look for even looking for better and better. You may have to refine it. You may have to do improvement in the model. A performance of the model need to be improved. Maybe if it is 90%, you improve it. So maybe 92% or 93%, so on. How to improve that? You may have to pass through the various design stages once again. Maybe in some cases you may, by collecting the data set and having more a variety of data for the given problem, no, with the robust data set, right? Having that, you may be able to train, or having some more type of features, right? You know that feature extraction is a, or we call sometimes feature engineering, or this feature space. You can do many things actually. You can think about extracting simple time series or some frequencies type of, or some simple parameters itself as a feature, right? Length as a feature, or some hidden features you can explore. It itself huge task in a given problem, extraction of feature and selection of the feature. So once you extract feature, you may have to rank them, or you may have to check which are the features contribute better, right? Some statistical tests are there, or some appropriate algorithms you can use for, or some kind of models, or some kind of algorithm generally can help you to extracting the better features, or ranking of the features can be done here, right? So if you can choose better features, yes, then you can go for, yes, implementing certain model. Even that is also may not be defined in advance. So that is why you may explore the model initially. Exploration of the model may be by maybe going through literature sometime, or by your area of expertise you may choose sometime, right? All this may happen. So, but anyway, you will be taking a clustering, or sometime with the knowledge of the problem you will be choosing whether it is supervised or unsupervised, all this. So, but choose certain model which is more suitable based on your understanding of the problem and literature and your knowledge. Once you choose your model, you can then go with the training and testing, all this. But however, this may not be satisfactory. Result may be around 90% or whatever it is. In some domain, it may be even 60%. You may not happy with that end result here. So you may have to explore more and more by refining the model, right? So this may happen multiple times, right? So that is why a feedback path is shown here. You may have to do these tasks repeatedly. Repeatedly, you may have to do these experiments to get good result. Once you get reasonably satisfying result in that domain, suppose literature says 67 is the highest result, and you got 70, and you may be very much happy that okay, you got compared to literature very good result. But still, this 70 is not best result, right? In any problem, the best result could be near 100. Any classification problem, right? As per the literature, if you are happy, still you cannot keep quiet, right? You may have to explore. So these are the challenges for a designer here. So what is this third cycle is talking about? So once you deploy your methodology along with the system in field, still you have to completely monitor it, right? You may be heard about many companies are even sometimes replacing their modules or tools. Even you can see cars are called back, right? Some of the automobiles, even you can find that sometimes they call back. They say that you have to get back. There are some errors. So here, when it is used continuously, you may try to find out some problems or some minute bugs. So that is why continuous monitoring of your complete this one over a period also expected, because data might vary even. See, data with the training data set, you may be trying to develop some model which is trying to learn about what is the arriving data, right? So if your model is such a way that it is adaptable to the arriving data, when the data changes, even it is able to adapt, then it is a different thing. Otherwise, if data is slowly varying and if your model is of fixed certain model with certain parameters, then slowly the performance may degenerate, right? It may not be satisfactory over a time, right? So that's why continuous monitoring may be required when you have designed certain solution, or you have designed and provided certain solution to certain problem. How it is working in the field, or how the particular model developed is functioning. A continuous monitoring also may be required. Even then, yeah, during its life cycle, you may be required to give some more supports, right? That is where the challenges are there with these kind of developments. Let us take an example here. For example, if you are trying to design, I think we had a very good interactive some session organized by IEEE recently. I think few of them attended. I could not attend the second session. I think I have seen some portion of the video of that. So whenever you attend those kind of session, even you get some idea of how people are implementing. I think few of you already attended that, right? How many of you attended? Can you raise your hand? Some of you maybe attended recent one of the workshop conducted by our IEEE student branch, right? Regarding ECG, right? ECG, EEG, everything was there in that. Correct, Malaika?
Yes, sir. In the day 2 session.
Yeah. How you can interact with some machine to collect the data, and later how you can even do so many things, right? IoT application. So today we are talking about a variety of application where it is multidisciplinary. Say we don't know where you will be going to get which problem, all this, right? Only once you landed into a company, you will come to know what kind of problem is given to you, right? Sometimes you may have to start with all new topics. Okay, you may be going with all the preparation with your own topic of interest, maybe machine learning, whatever, or some area of interest, right? But once you read there, the application a domain may be something new, still new. Okay, maybe the application, what you're planning is maybe relevant to that, but still the problem statement may be very new. Okay, you may have to do a lot of groundwork. So you should develop a passion today to learn anything given to you. Okay, that is very much important when you want to work with a multidisciplinary field, because the problem may have interaction with other domains, several other domains, right? Anyway, coming to why I'm talking all those things is when you are talking about application as such in any domain, it is multidisciplinary in nature. Okay. However, when you are exploring that problem as a system, all those are required. But when you want to restrict your domain to certain small area, even it is possible. I'm not saying that it is not possible. You can do that sometime. But when you are working in a company, in a group, you will be addressing various other group also. Okay. So it's good to know about other closely associated areas. Okay, anyway, coming to one of the example here, why I brought that is, I'm also taking some example of ECG today, that is why. So you can even listen to their talk so that you will get some basics of ECG. I think even you studied in your topics of interest in other subjects like signal processing and so on. So I will not talk much on that. So are you able to see my slide is visible to you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So a similar kind of topic, but a topic of interest is here automation or classification. Okay, we are not talking about other integrations here. But meantime, I said it is important because this kind of thing will go and sit in a complete system later. Okay. So let us restrict our discussion to small topic now. So maybe some automated classification if you are looking in the case of certain cardiac problem, right? Maybe some heartbeat or considering ECG, right? Suppose you want to do some kind of arrhythmia classification or kind of typical diagnosis, what you do with the ECG, right? How you can automate ECG based diagnosis, right? Because you know, so many percentage of cases will be observed every day or every minute, right? That is also in India, we are said that prone to high to cardiac problems, right? That's what people are telling. Yeah, anyway, coming to the problem now. Classroom. Okay, I think all of you know what is the range in which your signal varies generally, and it is a very small signal having certain millivolt strength, right? So finding all the signatures in this is a very challenging task. I will not talk about very particular about various details of the signal. In generally, you know that there are various segments, I can say. In the graphical display of ECG here, you can find that there are various portions of the ECG. You can even say that it is also named, right? All of you aware of that. There is a P wave, which is highlighted here, and other segment like PR segment, so on, QRS complex, etc. What is the importance of this labeling here may be known to you with the associated with the function. All this you studied in the physiology, all this. But this particular pattern itself is something standard compared to other signal like EEG, right? EEG will have something like there is no standard pattern, right? Further, there also you can find out alpha, beta, so on, right? That is what the way where you explore the pattern sometime. It looks like for when you just see you feel that there is nothing, but you may be able to see there is a pattern alpha, there is a pattern beta, right? But when you see ECG, it is not that much complex. Yeah, it is somewhat simpler pattern, right? You have some templates here, right? Having certain segmented areas, well-defined areas, right? But still, this is very interesting to some of the teams of research. They explored all this time factor and so many other things, signal amplitude, right? All this could be explored as some of the features even, right? When you take this for a normal, it can be certain value, or for certain other classes, it could be other values. That is what understood in the theories, right? You may have to go through the signal at various segments. Each segment, when you take either P wave or QRS complex, some of the parameter like time duration or amplitude or other will act as a feature here, right? It can be considered as features of this ECG. Why I'm talking about feature, you may be knowing, because every time we talk about feature. Why we talk about feature? Anyone of you? Why not directly samples of ECG? You know that this ECG even can be represented by samples, right? This whole one ECG, if you try to sample it, sampling theorem you studied, using sampling theorem, if you sample it and if you digitize it, you will get a file, ECG file. It will have all the sampled values. Itself can be taken as features, nothing wrong, okay? This itself can be the features. But sometimes what we do is we extract other features, like height of the P wave, height of T wave, or duration of T wave, or ST segment. These are the other features you extract from the signal, right? Why you need to extract the features, or why can't you use directly the pattern? You can use it, nothing wrong, right? You can use pattern itself for your recognition problems, sample data. But in most of the cases, in order to get a reduced dimension, especially in machine learning problems, you look for features. So input dimension can be reduced. Dimension of input vector. Input vector dimension can be reduced by extracting the features, right? Suppose say that, okay, let me ask a simple question here. I think all of you know ECG is sampled and it can be represented as a file, right? How many samples will be there in one ECG file? Minimum one cycle. This is called one cycle. At least how many samples you have to take for representing the signal?
So it should be sampled at least twice the maximum
Yeah, that is
frequency. So
right. Criteria is saying that, correct. Can you tell me how many sample values you may be having in this file? If I convert this following your criteria to 2F, right? At least 2F samples, yes. Then comes the question that what is the frequency range, right? So around 250 plus will be there, no? At least. If it is 100 hertz, at least 200 plus samples, right? Nearly 250 samples, say. If you take with higher resolution or higher number of samples, if you go with sampling, right? Then the number of sample may be 1000 also. That is also possible, okay? But at least say, for in order to maintain all the requirements, say at least 250 samples may be required, say, let us say. If it is the case, it is maybe 250 bytes at least. It's not a big file, still directly also you can use it. Suppose you are designing a backpropagation, then you need 250 nodes for representing that at the input layer. Backpropagation, neural network. In that input layer may look for, in that case, 250 nodes for feeding your ECG directly. On the other side, if I reduce the dimension of this file, or if I represent this ECG in terms of extracted feature, such as height of P wave or intervals, all these, maybe around 20 features if I extract, then I can expect these 20 nodes act as here in the backpropagation as input layer. I can reduce the size of the network, whole network. Instead of 250, I can bring it to size of 20. It is possible. With the similar quality of result, you may be able to demonstrate classification, right? That is what proved by many models. See, the major objective here is to extract feature is to reduce the dimension of the network or computation time finally. When the size of the network brought down, even you can understand that some computation time or other things also reduced, right? Hardware requirement also can be reduced. All these are related. Okay, this ECG as a feature set, if you can extract for ECG, yes, then you can think about that as an input and you can train the network, right? Things you can explore how it is related to various tasks of your physiology of your heart. All this I'm not going to talk here, but I just shown this slide because just to say that the signals can vary, right? Just to say that I have shown this. Okay. Forget about all these diagrams. You may be knowing that. Okay. So this ECG is related to various activity of the heart, or physiology of the heart. But what happens if the pattern varies? The diagnosis also indicate various changes in the functionality, right? That is what you know. For a normal heartbeat, the pattern look like this, whereas the pattern changes, right? One criteria may be the rate, right? How many ECGs are found in a particular minute. If you can count these ECGs within certain time duration, you can express rate, heart rate. Based on heart rate also, or heartbeats also, you may be able to say that there is a fast or slow heart, right? A beating is higher or lesser, all this, correct? Or sometime irregular. That also you can monitor, right? You can just find out from this that there is something wrong, right? In this region. Compared to this first one, second and third one is entirely different, right? That's what you can compare. So even the rate is different, right? So these are opening us to explore with the classifier, right? So what is that fast heart rate called?
Tachycardia.
Yeah, there are two case incidents you can name here. One is tachycardia, one is bradycardia, right? So what is the average heart rate defined as a normal?
72.
Yeah, why it is 72, let us not discuss here, but there is some standard threshold, people have defined it, right? Once there is a definition defined as this is normal, it is not exactly 72, even there is a range of value, maybe 72 plus or minus, can be considered as some rate you may be considering as normal. But it is under standard condition, right? It is something, some mean value or some kind of average value you'll be treating here as comparing with the class as normal, right? However, in some special cases, it may be surprising result also may be seen in some time. Okay, let us not discuss about. But however, some rate which is normal. Suppose sometime if rate is changing, it may be going above 100, 100, 110 like that, right? Or sometime it is going below 65, so on, right? Then you can categorize it as other two classes, bradycardia, tachycardia, all this you can define, right? So there are three classes here, how you can differentiate using this pattern, if that is a question of interest. You can think about certain classifier or recognition system having certain basic block diagram, which I was talking generally earlier. You can make it more specific here, okay, to the given problem. Because I was telling earlier, you need to have some sensor or some transducer. Then you need to have a pre-processing unit, pre-processing, then feature extraction. Once you extract the feature, all this choosing the feature, select the model, right? So on. These are the standard blocks. Now instead of standard blocks, you can make it customized to the requirement, ECG classification here, right? Your input is nothing but ECG here. You may have to use suitable arrangement for acquiring it. So you may have to go for certain lead system or certain quality of certain type of electrodes, right? So you know that even there may be set of electrodes used based on your configuration, right? Those things you have studied. There are a lot of reasoning behind that. But anyway, input has to be acquired. When you call a PR system, you may have to even worry about all those things. If you're just thinking about certain area of classifier, then how it look like, that is what given here, okay? Once you get through some electrodes, your signal is acquired. And after that, what you can do within the classification block, right? What exactly you are doing, all this you're talking as a block diagram here. Just as a ECG classification procedure from the data, how exactly you can do it, okay? Where initially we consider simple two-class problem, how you can classify it as a normal or abnormal, or a normal from arrhythmia, how you can do that, or tachycardia or bradycardia, right? How you can differentiate it. So a general block could look like something like this. If input is provided, like you need to have some kind of pre-processing block. Why it's a pre-processing block? It can help you to clean up your signal, like if there is some baseline noise, right? Or some 50 hertz noise, right? Because of the power, 50 hertz signal noise, like power noise, right? All this you can remove it. So what is this baseline wonder? All of you know that, right? So if there is something like you can even remove that, all this can be done with the feature. Before feature extraction with the pre-processing task. This is pre-processing task. Once you finish doing cleaning up your data, then you can go for feature extraction. Maybe you can look for some kind of wavelet or some kind of simple features what I mentioned earlier, right? Some p-wave height, ST segment, so on. I will also list some of the features how you can extract. Okay, regarding that some more discussion we'll have. Anyway, don't worry about this wavelet now. You can use any kind of features. This is just a block diagram I just took from net. You need a feature extraction, which can extract some features from the ECG, right? There is a block expected here. After that, you may have to give it to a kind of model, neural network model or some other type of maybe parametric or non-parametric model. Anything you can choose here. But shown here, a feed-forward neural network. Okay, as an example. So once you train this, then you may be able to do the appropriate categorization, right? Even some other task where the people may look specifically on certain beats or arrhythmia classification. The first stage, pre-processing, may look like this is taken from another paper, say for example, heartbeat classification, right? So block diagram here, not exactly required to be defined. You, based on your subject, no, you try to follow standard blocks like pre-processing. What you want to do, you just mention there. As I have mentioned earlier, baseline correction. Maybe some filtering also may be required, 50 hertz filter, right? See, the next stage may be different in different work, research work. Some people, earlier work, you've seen that it is based on wavelets. Here they may extract some other, or they may even do segmentation of that. Say detection of beats They will try to identify the R wave sometime. And with respect to that, they will be going to segment the ECG. They want to find out different region of the ECG. And then within the region, you can even look for extraction of the feature. Then select the feature, and that reduced dimension feature you can apply to your classifier. This is what the plan these people have done. Okay. So you do pre-processing, then you do feature extraction and feature selection. So what are the features they extracted? Okay, before that, here, I just gave a slide just to understand. Suppose if there is a signal like this ECG with its base is changing, right? A case of baseline wonder, right? How you can correct it? Anyone? How you can correct baseline wonder problem? It is a type of pre-processing. We may be studied in signal processing. Oh,
So pass it through a low pass filter.
Some kind of filter you will be using, right? That's what you said.
Yes, sir, the low pass.
Low pass to remove what?
Noise, sir, you're talking about pre-filtering.
Yeah, pre-processing involves removal of now the noise here, right? Or some kind of, right? The baseline nature which is observed in the signal because it is shifting, right? Some kind of offset. You can see that some kind of offset is added here. So that area is subtracted, right? Or filtered. That's also another task which you can do it. In the given problem, they have taken 360 hertz, 360 hertz sampling, okay, in the given problem. You may find in different problem, different frequency in which they are sampling it. Okay. But generally 200 plus, 250 plus, they do it at least. So once you extract this, yeah.
So the baseline wonder is is a low frequency phenomenon, right? So in order to get rid of baseline wonder, shouldn't you pass it through a high pass so that the ECG itself gets passed through and then pass it through low pass?
Yeah, that is how you arrange it. That based on that, it is possible. Yeah, which one you want to extract, which one you want to eliminate, right? That decides there. Yeah. However, using any one of the filtering mechanism, if you extract that region of required signal, you separate it.
Yes, sir.
Even later, you can use various other filters. See what they have done. I am just sharing here. There are many techniques. Even we can do it with alternate techniques. Okay. I'm just proposing their method here. Okay. What they have done for segmenting the other areas. Once you get a signal here, right, by filtering method. Once again, you can use multiple filters. That's what they did. Okay. Even segmenting, there are other technique also. Considering a maximum R peak, even you can try to do it. What they have done, you can see here. First, a 200 millisecond median filter was applied to remove P wave. So they have used certain median filter to remove the P wave. So they tried separating the areas of ECG. Certain region of the ECG they focused and separated. Okay. Similarly, QRS complex. Similarly, they separated T wave with another filter, another window filter. median filter. So their idea was different, but even there are other kind of window procedure also you can use. Some filtering procedure may be helpful here to separate or to segment your ECG. Why segmentation is required? It is also not mandatory. Okay, it is one procedure they adapted to extract the features. Okay, see, method to method, you may find different techniques adapted. In this work, research group, they separated these P's. P wave they separated, QRS complex they separated, and T wave they separated. And based on these segmented area, they extracted the features in this work. Okay. But essentially, this procedure, this pre-processing may not be required in all the method. Okay, well, that's what I'm trying to say. Method may change from one design group to a research group to another research group. But some pre-processing like these things may be mandatory required. Okay. Like 50 hertz removal, all this may be. It is considered as a noise portion. Noises can be removed. But later, segmentation and other thing, it is left to you, whether you want to do or directly you want to process, all this left to you. Okay. So once you do kind of thought of extracting some features, then you try to extract specific features on that, or completely on ECG or with a specific region of that is left to you. Okay. See, each method may be different. You may find hundreds of paper. Each paper will have their own method proposed. Like some may be good, some may not be encourageable like that, right? Some may have good results also. Okay, the method involves here ECG segmentation. That is what I was just mentioning. And after that, they extract some features. Okay. For beat detection, you can see here different. This is a complete cycle of ECG, which is shown, right? And you can find the QRS complex here. All of you know that, right? So once you segment, no? Once you identify this ECG range, full range, then you can plan for segmenting QRS complex. Say this is the region of QRS complex. So if you do that, you can focus that region and you can extract features from this region. This is not mandatory. That's what I was telling. Even from the whole region also, you can extract the feature. As a whole also, you can plan for extracting the feature. But you need to identify a cycle here. That is very much essential. Or you need to identify a peak of interest. That may be very much essential in this. Okay. Then it will give good result. Right. So sometimes you follow other approaches where it may not be much important. Okay. So what they have done, they worked out with certain features. Some typical features I will just list here. You don't need to remember all these features. Okay. Don't forget about all this. Only few, one or two, you just try to remember. Some feature when you consider, say they took first 1 to 4 feature of their feature vector. They called it as RRI 1 to 4, right? Their RR interval of 4 consecutive bits. That means their research work, they have not taken even one cycle. Some people work generally with one cycle. Now what they have done for extracting the features 1 to 4 is they are nothing but RR interval of 4 consecutive bits. They consider 4 cycles. And extracted RR interval from 4 cycles. And each one is considered as a feature, x1, x2, x3, x4. First 4 features are RR intervals, consecutive cycle. So it is a novel approach they followed in training the network. They thought that consecutive 4 bits will consider and corresponding some feature will be exploring, right? That is what first 4 feature. See, I'm just trying to tell why these kind of features are extended. It is left to the designer to think in a problem how we can explore a feature is. That is why I'm just giving some typical example here. Okay. So in a machine learning problem, all this you will be exploring, but in deep learning, the machine tries to explore like this many features, right? It may do its own operation and it will try to find out. So if you check here, uh, so fifth one, okay, second row here, fifth feature is given. Average of 10 closest RR interval. See how the thought is. Once again, it is on RR interval. Okay, just focusing on RR interval segment from R peak to R peak, that interval they considered, and they are focusing all these first 5 features. Then the sixth one is standard deviation of 10 closest RR interval. Seventh is width of QRS complex. It may be very common feature, right? And the sixth, okay, seventh, right? 8 to 11 are positive and negative maximum of QRS in both channels. That means they are looking for what channels they are talking. Anyway, it depends on their work, so let us not worry too much on that. But you can understand that this is how people can think about, say, how the ECG is crossing that crossing point or the peak value, interval, not only this ratio of certain thing or average of something or consecutive thing, like you can go on explore these features. So they have extracted several features like this. You can see all about 106 features they extracted from the ECG. You can see the bottommost is 106. Some I highlighted here, amplitude and duration of P wave here. Simple one I highlighted, duration of PR interval. Say 58th one is 10 samples from the center of the P wave in both channels. Some specific features they also extracted. So they focused on different segments, and each segment what is possible from their side they explored. Okay. Those features set will be, it is almost 106 now. 1/3 of the actual data, right? They said that the sample at 300 something plus, right? Hertz, where is that? 360 hertz. Anyway, whatever it is. Say from this list, even you can optimize few and you can even reduce. If some are not contributing much for representing the pattern, even you can remove it. Okay. But in their work, they have considered it. Maybe some slopes, and some may be having something like you can see here, some slope also considered. Right. They have not considered much kind of wavelet and so many other things. Even people work with different other type of features. But pertaining to this research work, they have extracted some segmented component related some features like magnitude features or some other features related to that. Right. Its signatures are seen explored in a different way. Okay. Once you collect all these features, even you can select it if you want. Otherwise, you can directly go and train your network, right? So, I'll try to show you standard way of getting into one of the MATLAB function or app that I'll show you later. How you can export or import there and do the classification, right? Now see here, I have just given just for example, a rhythm of heart or some waves in case of normal bradycardia and tachycardia. You can see that number of cycle here, normally say 3, may be seen as reduced to 2, may be increased here. Maybe 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Around 9 or 10 are there, right? Tachycardia where the number of cycles are increased. If you can detect this, right, with your classifier, then you can classify that particular sample as say tachycardia sometime. But in order to do this, you may have to train first. First step is training. The second step is maybe involving testing or even evaluation and validation, right? So arrhythmia classification, the features may be something like this you can explore. Maybe then you may have to do certain kind of neural training, neural network training, and then you may have to test it. How you can train, I will just show you later some demonstration. In their problem, no, the problem they have worked out, once they train and test, testing result they have got with certain accuracy. We will define what is an accuracy is, or some other performance parameter as, right, sensitivity as 95%, so on. It is not 100%, still there is a scope for improvement. That is what it is indicating. So it is one research work. If you refer different research work, no, you find different methods. I think already you may be explored for your seminar or some other purpose, small projects. And you may be found that different research group has adopted different methods, right? Now it is found that in this method, it is around 96% using some neural network, and they extracted certain features. And by chance, if you use wavelet and study, it may increase or it may decrease. We don't know. Right now, we have not compared with the paper with wavelet, or we have not worked out on that. Say, you may have to do it and check. So that is where we call it as a design cycle. It is a certain time you will get certain result, which may not be 100% sometimes. Even though sometimes 100% when you monitor in the field, it may change even. So you may have to do continuously monitoring that model implemented. Okay, that is a design cycle aspect of and certain example on ECG. Any question here? Any questions? I'll just try to open MATLAB and I'll just try to show you general some example, not specifically ECG. Give me a minute. Any of the tool you can use it. Where one more thing, this Friday, I'm on leave, okay? Friday. Kenisha, is it audible, Kenisha? Yeah.
Yes, yes, sir.
Just intimate others also later. Yeah.
Thanks, sir.
So we may not be able to take the class. If required later, we'll manage it. Otherwise, maybe the rest of the classes may be enough. That's what I'm thinking. Okay. I'm on leave that day, traveling. Yeah. So classes may not be there that day. Can you see my screen with the tool open?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I just opened general, like it is a 2019 version, even 2021 version is also available. Okay. So you can see the screen where I am going to app now. Are you able to see? I just clicked apps.
Yes.
You can see there are different apps like a classification learner and so on. I'm just choosing one like neural net pattern recognition. Okay. You're able to see the one chosen, right?
Yes, sir.
The class is going on. Anything? Yeah, you are able to see the window of that. It is a GUI of that particular pattern recognition app. Okay. So you have easy accessibility to this app, and you can start your app here in the bottom left. Neural network start. Can you see that my arrow?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it is just a neural network start. Okay, you can start here and you read this panel. They are given some detail of input layer, hidden layer, all this, which we are discussing in generally. Okay. I'm just clicking on this left corner, no? Left bottom corner, one neural network start key is there. That you can click. So then it is asking whether you need to choose any fitting app or pattern recognition app. If pattern recognition app, even you can press next. Otherwise, you can choose from here, either of the way. Yeah. Or here next is possible, no? Right side you have next. That itself you can click. So now I have chosen pattern recognition app for doing classification, for example. So the first task is to select the data here. Okay. If you have developed certain procedure for your own data and you have extracted some features, yes, those features are available in a particular Excel or in other format of table form, right? Then you can import them here. There is a provision here to import your data. You can see the left top side, you have some three dot, and I just kept my cursor there. Can you see that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, if you press it, it will take you to browse. Okay, if you click on that, it will take you to the system. Okay, where you can browse your data and you can import. Okay, like this, you can import the data and you can import input as well as targets. You have to import two files. Okay, and whether you have to, those data even need to be kept in certain format, maybe row wise or column wise. Okay, based on that, you can choose either matrix column or matrix rows. That is, input is whether in the column form, each feature vector is arranged in the column or in the row. I mean, you can see in the Excel, you write the number vertically as well as horizontally, right? So that you are defining whether one of the input is kept in horizontal row. Suppose if there are 10 features, are you keeping them column wise or row wise? That you have to choose here. So I will not go for my own data. So if it is own data, you can import and do it. On the top left corner, you have provision for importing. That's what I was telling. If not, I can load examples. If you come to left to bottom, you can see load example, say, where I can import the data and I can start executing it. See here many variety of data already given here, like breast cancer data. They've extracted around 9 features. And those data sets are available in the MATLAB. And you can import the available data set having certain cancer data. Now it is loaded here. You can see on the top of left, cancer inputs, cancer targets. Can you see that? Near my cursor?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is what just I imported the data. Okay. Now, if I go on do the processing of GUI, like next, my data set is divided into samples like 70%, like 489 samples are, or 70% of the samples are used for training in this case, rest 15 each for validation and testing. I think there is a assignment set at 3:20. Okay. Next 2-3 minutes you may get it. Just for your information, I just told earlier, because sometime you will have a problem, right? That is why I just mentioned it. Yeah. And even I think I have set with 1 minute, due minute. Okay, simple questions are there. You may not need much time for that. Still 1 minute extra I have kept as a due time. Okay, because somebody said there is some problem in returning it, right? So what you can see here is, I will go back once again. So we imported a data. The detail of the data even you can find out by going back here and sorry, here. Go into your data set. No? Here, right side, you have all the detail of the data. Okay, suppose breast cancer. Cancer data set, file name details are given here. You can go through it if you are interested. My idea is just to explain the tool here. But if you are interested about understanding the data set and other thing, you can go through this material. They have cancer data set here, like some kind of biopsy data. Like you can see they extracted some feature from that. The features are listed here, 9 features. Can you see the features listed?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, for each sample, they have some feature listed, like clump thickness, uniformity of cell size, all this. They're taken as a feature. Each biopsy sample will have 9 features extracted as its characteristic and listed as one set of, or one pattern is nothing but 9 features here belonging to biopsy data. Okay, related to cancer data set. So they want to classify some classes. What exactly we will see that. Okay. But this is what the data set and where the features are taken like this. 9 feature, 699 samples altogether. So I have already imported, so it is there here. You can see on the left top. In the last step only I imported. I'll just go with the next. I was just saying that here, the tool itself is defining what is the randomly it is going to take is few of the sample as training data and few of them are validation testing all this. It is dividing it. Okay. From the Excel sheet or the data stored there, it is able to do it. So this validation and testing sample set can be varied. You can vary it. If you vary that, the training set also changes. You can see that. But generally, you generally keep higher number for training rather than testing and validation. Okay, you're getting my point. Nearly 70% generally we keep for training. Okay, just wait for the test. I think it is coming now. Just wait. You can look into the test. It may appear anytime. I think it has been released, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Carry on.
sir.
Yeah, you have completed that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Sir,
any problem? Anybody had today problem? Anyone had problems?
Yes, sir. YCG had an issue. She tried to submit it at 3:24 and it was not accepting.
Or it may not.
So
That's
wasn't
what
the
you mentioned, no? So
3:20?
that 3 is the time, no? 3 is the time. 4 is the due time, right? Before 4, we may have to do it. Right? Yeah. You said that 3 minutes it is not doing. That is why I extended 1 minute extra, right? It is only theory, no? There is no workout time also required. Just read and click. Maybe 1.5 minutes is enough for these questions. Right. If there is a problem, we give sufficiently higher time. Right. It is just a theory I gave today also. Just you have to write and read and click. That's all. But 1 minute extra I gave that due time. If it is before that, no, it may work out. Otherwise, maybe it is blocking. I don't know. So after 3, it may not accept, right? That's what you are telling, right?
So she submitted at 3:24. It didn't accept it.
Okay. Okay. Are you able to see my anyway? Almost time it is. I'll just quickly finish it. Then I will redo it with another example later if you want. You can see there are various data which are considered as training data set 70%, that is 489 number, and validation set will have around 105. These are the default setting, like 15% each for validation and testing. If you want to change, you can even change it. If you want to reduce the test and you want to increase the training, you can do that. That's what I did now. It is, you can reduce this if you want, right? I kept 85 for training, 10% for validation, 5% for testing. So this can be varied if you want. Okay, if you want, you can change it. This is a default setting. Then if you go for next, it will train first, then do the other process also. Here it will take hidden layer nodes are 10. Okay, it has been selected by itself. And if you want to change this, even you can change this. Okay, there is an option to edit. I'll go with the set value. When you go next, now it is in a stage that architecture is ready. It is asking you to train now. There is a, you can see there is a button train on the top highlighted here with near my cursor.
Yes, sir.
If I click this, it will train the network. Now quickly it has trained. If you want to retrain also, it is possible. Otherwise, if you want to see the performance and other thing, you can go to next. Even you can plot confusion matrix. There is a provision here. You can see right side, there is a button near my cursor, plot confusion, right? Sorry. I just pressed plot confusion so that we'll discuss about this confusion matrix later. What is this? This is trying to indicate various parameters of, even there is a ROC, performance parameter even indicated using ROC, receiver operating curve. Like sensitivity, specificity based on curve also can be plotted. Okay, directly it is visible here as a 2 buttons, right? You can just press this options so that you will get that. Anyway, let us stop here. Let us explore some of the details later, performance parameter details of that in the later classes with some other example. This is one ROC curve, it is generated now, right? When I press it, it is generated. What is this? What is usefulness of this? We'll discuss later, okay? Now, this is an app which will help you to generate required architecture, and you can even import your data and you can give it to that. That neural network can be trained, okay, and tested without programming, because this is an app platform. Easily you can run through the GUI, right? Graphical user interface will help you to import and train, and also generate required plots such as confusion matrix, ROC, etc. to understand the performance of the network. If you want to update, even you can update later and you can test many times. Okay. Hardly it will take few seconds because the dataset has only few number of data of small size. Even some more detail of those things I will show you in the later classes. I think I will stop here.